Hello, chat. Welcome to the stream. We have some things to do and some things to talk about actually. So, main one, I'm basically 99% sure I got the job. It's just I really hate the final steps of a job interview. The final steps, especially when you go through like a referral process, is very different because you need to wait for people to like basically fast track you through like a separate pipeline. It's stupid. Basically, I don't know why there's a separate pipeline because it feels like you open yourself up to a bunch of issues. But smaller companies need that like faster pipeline because smaller companies live and die off of velocity, which in turn affects your burn rate plus other things. As compared to larger companies, which lives and dies off of stability. I mean, that's also kind of a simplification, I think, of a larger company. They don't really, stay stable for very much. But because of that, I'm either starting work tomorrow or the day after. So either tomorrow or Wednesday stream will be starting at 5 p.m. I don't know which yet. If I get the email late today, then I guess I start Wednesday. They did mention that they need some time. It's the truth of the matter is that even if you can go really really fast, you can't like skip ahead of certain things. Like they have to get my banking information and then set me up on like payroll to like pay me. They have to do things like, well, I mean, usually you can do that as a part of someone's on the boarding, so it's not that like bad. But other things like equipment take some time to get. Other things like just general preparation of like, okay, well, this person's starting. What are the things that we need? Like they may need some time. So my theory it's gonna be on Wednesday, but it depends on when they email me. If they email me by 3 today, then I know for sure it's starting tomorrow. What does that mean for the stream? It means that streams start 5 hours later. So usually we start, well, I mean, 4 hours later. Right now, we would start in the middle of my workday. Obviously, I can't just quit work in the middle of the day to go stream. That's not really kosher. Thankfully, it's not a really long term thing. It's a month long contract because I'm also not sure about this place either. So it's kind of a way for the both of us to get to know each other and see if it works or not long term. Because it's a startup, it's like a fast paced cycle too. So it's just the reality that like a month long contract is your best way of going in. At least within this very unknown, very fast paced place. And then we'll think about full time once we get there, but we'll see. And then yeah, we just kind of go in and see how it goes. But because of that, streams will start 4 hours later, maybe even 5 hours actually, depending on what I want to do afterwards. But I'm hoping I can go right off of work straight into the stream because I don't really care much about work. Like I care about doing a good job at work, but beyond that, it's just kind of like the reality of it is that because you have no stake in the game and because they don't give you enough anyways, there's not really much of a point. Obviously, kind of different if you're a engineer, but if I'm going in as a contract, I'm also very aware that like there's a certain expectation here. So we'll see how it goes. Plus, it's in general, it's good to have a good work life balance. I'm a big backer of the idea of once your work time is done, you should just leave the computer. And if anything happened, it's like, well, too late, buddy. You were like a minute over. Sorry, man. Peace out. You know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll let you guys know on Discord whether or not it'll happen. If you don't have the Discord, if you're in YouTube, go to Twitch. Look at the Twitch chat. There's a Discord command that I'm going to type right now that I post everything, and then we'll see how it goes. Today we'll be doing some interesting things. One, it's gonna be a fairly long stream, just because like this is like the last long stream that we'll probably have. So appreciate it while you still can. This is probably going to disappear. Streams will be going from the full 8 hours or longer back to like 5 6 hours. As well as availability will go from 5 days a week to 4 days a week. Maybe it depends on how much my wife is like busy with like her work and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. And we're gonna be hopefully getting through most of our schedule for the rest of this week. Future schedules will be less jam packed and will be more focused on one activity per day. I think. I think a multi activity day only really works if you have a very long stream day. So I think moving forward we'll go back to a single activity day. Right now it's like a mix of sandbox plus thing. And I think future stuff will be only like sandbox or thing or whatever we usually do. Speaking of sandbox, we need to check the schedule. But the game jam's almost over. So Xbox.game. Sorry, let me also. I need to start the fan on my PC because it broke. Okay, cool. So sub that. My fan is currently broken, so I have to manually start it. The sandbox, I guess like game jam, is going to end soon. So we have to be careful about this one. We take too long, and we're actually going to miss the timing for everything. So we need to be very, very careful with how this is happening. There's 14 days left. We haven't even gotten to MVP yet because I've had so little time in between everything else that this has sort of been on the back burner. So we're gonna spend a bit more time on Sandbox today compared to everything else. Until then, I think we're almost done. It feels like we're almost done. It feels like we're at like some level of finality. So again, if you don't want spoilers for the game, you may want to back off a little bit. But we'll have an hour of talking roughly because we're going over some plans for the future, as well as a discussion that I think is going to involve all of you in the chat. Okay. But Sandbox will be a major focus for this month. October is a book as spooky month. I got a bunch of spooky games to play, like a bunch of them, like a shit ton. I've been saving them for a while, so the whole month will be very, very fun. December is going to be the month of Christmas or holiday themed stuff. It's very hard to find holiday games, so let's see how far we can take it. We may even spend most of the holidays just updating Snow Job to be more of a holiday game. We'll see how it goes. And then obviously November will be the month of passion. I've got a lot of weird passionate games that you'll all really love. But the schedule for this week will stay the same. What we need to talk about now is something very, very important. Okay, this is something that affects all of you actually, because you're all part of the community. Whether you like it or not, if you're watching me, you're unfortunately part of this mess. You're liable for whatever I do. You are literally responsible for me, and I'm responsible for you. Well, I'm not really responsible for you. You can just fuck off. I don't really care. But but you're responsible for me. So if you want me to, meet your parents or something, you have to tell me what to do. All right. And one of the major things that you have to tell me what to do is this. We need to figure out what the moderation situation in the stream is going to feel like. And in honor of this talk, if figuring out what we all want from a moderator in this stream moving forward, because right now the benchmark for a moderator is I don't want one because I'm afraid of you. Getting too close to me doesn't work. In honor of us finally clarifying this, because it's based on a talk from yesterday's Final Fantasy 14 session, I thought we'd play a little song, a very funny song actually. It's a very weird song that I found a while back. So in Canada, we have this artist, this musician named David Wilcox. That's his real name. I'm not making that up. That's not a meme or anything. That's the dude's real name. Don't you dare make fun of his name. That's a real Canadian name. All right, Canadians, we have some really cool like names. He made a song a long time ago. He's a very, very old musician now. He's a very, very old Canadian classic musician. Not like classic as in he does classic music, but classic as in like he's been there since like day one. Made a song called "Layin' Pipe." It's funny because it's a bit like the Meat Butcher song from like Fallout, where he's talking about laying pipes, as in like he's like working a construction job laying pipes. But the way that he says it sounds so sexual all the way through that you can't help but wonder if he's really laying pipe on the ground or if he's laying pipe in your mom. And I thought this was a great song to go to because this song is really about, the blue collar worker, right? I'm sure every Canadian remembers this show, Dirty Jobs by Steve Rowe by Job. What's his name again? I forget his name. His name is less recognizable than the show itself, but he's also very famous for the show that like king crab fishing show where they go up in the Arctic and they catch like king crab fish and like stuff. Really interesting dude. And I say Canadian because we have Discovery Channel here, and like he's always on this Discovery Channel for us. At least he like was. He reminds me of that kind of person, but with more musical talent and a heck of a lot more, I guess, like comedy in his songwriting. So please enjoy the song as we go into this big discussion about what makes a mod and what are we looking for a mod on this channel, and why we're even talking about that. He reminds me a lot of like a Canadian Toby Keith, like the Red Solo Cup guy. Also, fun fact that song is just under 5 minutes, so it's about the average running time of most people's pipeline session. I still don't know whether or not that's actually like a song about like construction work or if it's about having sex. Like the wordplay fits with both. So maybe he's just a genius songwriter, right? And man, that song is very relatable, especially as the person laying the pipe. Yeah, your back hurts, like your legs get tired, you need a break. 10 minute smoke break is kind of crazy though. I wouldn't pop like a cigarette in the middle of the construction site. I feel like you gotta keep it nice and clean, and you're already working hard. Just give it like a minute or two, go right back into it. Okay, you're already almost done. It's 4 minutes. Like you're only 30 seconds away from the final finish. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. Canadian music is kind of weird the way that goes. Canadian music kind of flows in either that direction with David Wilcox or the other direction with Daniel Caesar, and it's like there's really no in between. Like we don't have like your average artist, right? You're either Celine Dion or you're David Wilcox. There's like nothing else in between in Canada. It's fascinating. Canada is really just the land of the superstar, right? Whether it's the homegrown superstar like David Wilcox or superstar on the global stage. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. On the global stage, like Celine Dion. Celine Dion. Again, I talked about her performance at the Olympics. I actually wanted to play it for some of today's segments, but obviously copyright and the Olympics copyright team is like intense. There, right now there's an Olympics official watching my stream. It's a bit like a speed run where it's like time to first copyright strike. That's what they're doing. They're waiting for us to slip up here. Now, as I said before, reason why we listen to that song is because we're in a very important step in this channel's life cycle. Not that we need to be in this life cycle, but I figured it's good to clarify these things because we're gonna have more questions about this. Yesterday, we had a very interesting talk about this. Because some viewers here actually know a mod of a larger streamer named Project Melody. And then there was a small like offhand point that I made that I think I should probably like think about more. This idea of like connecting with someone on a genuine level versus also the idea of like moderating for this like channel. And I realized that we never actually sat down to figure out what this is gonna feel like from your perspective, like from you as a viewer of the channel. What do you want from a moderator? And I realized that we never really clarified this because I've only been thinking about what I want this entire time. Obviously, it's my channel, it's my rules, and I can do whatever the hell I want. But there is that sense of you live in a society, and unfortunately, I have to care about your feelings because unfortunately, you're also a part of this society, right? So all of this, all these little drawings, all these things that we make on this stupid little board, this is all also made with all of your input. This is very much our DNA encoded in this file. And it's time to think about that encoding far beyond just the output of the things that we make, but also the systems that we implement and the things that we bring into this channel. Because so far it's been a lot of me, but not enough about you. So let's think about moderation for a bit. And I always find moderation to be very funny, and I've been thinking about this for a long time, but finally I can put this into words. Moderations and finding a moderator is probably the hardest job. Way harder than I'm just kidding. It's not a hard job necessarily in terms of like backbreaking work, but there's a difficulty that's unique to it in that you're a beekeeper. There's a shit ton of angry hornets that are going to stab you, like stab the shit out of you, and you need to be careful not to kick the hornet's nest because if you do, they will bite the shit out of you, and it won't feel good. What's interesting from the perspective of the streamer is that moderation runs this very key risk, which was sort of like shown yesterday when I heard about someone else's moderator, right? Where they might be a huge fan of mine, but then now also all their free time is spent on me. So their free time is now spent all on me. Obviously, it's a volunteer basis and they can say no, but how good are you at saying no when somebody says, suck my dick for $1 million, right? You're probably going to suck their dick even if you don't really want to, right? And if you do, like, we're very easily coerced by the things by like different factories, and we don't really recognize it, right? So there's this weird juxtaposition where somebody is a fan who does it in their free time with no pay, which seems to be the standard for moderators. You'll suck for free. Okay, well, you're lucky I don't have $1 million. I'm just kidding. But then there's also this aspect of like no pay too. And this to me is a very slippery slope, right? These three combined in terms of moderation can lead to this like it feels like exploitation, but I don't know whether or not it is. And I don't know if I want the person who's moderating me to be a fan, but at the same time, I preach a lot about you should love the things that you do. But if you don't love the thing that you do, then will you really be able to do it for like the long term? Will you really be able to like care about it? I mean, obviously, even if I pay a moderator well, would that happen? Like, would they be able to like enjoy it as like a job compared to doing anything else that they're more passionate about? Oh, we're talking about moderation. Yeah, about moderation. Yes, yes. Not about. I mean, listen. You thought it was about blowjobs. Well, it is. What do you think the moderators are supposed to do? What? Come on, guys. I need to keep it going. All right. If I'm falling asleep, give me a sloppy toppy, and I'll just keep it going for another half an hour. I've been thinking about this a lot because yesterday's discussion, sort of, the first reaction that I had when I heard about this idea of like somebody being a huge fan of the person that they moderate was on both ends. And I really sat down to think about like why did I have that like knee jerk reaction? Because it's not really fair on like either side. On the one side, I think, oh God, like is there like an ulterior motive from the moderator side? On the other side, I think, oh God, are they being taken advantage of? Like they're being taken advantage of in the sense of they're using their passion and their joy for it as a way for them to do free work, right? And it was interesting to me because I had that sort of like knee jerk reaction, and then I had that reflection afterwards where I was like, well, wait, that doesn't make any sense, right? Because some people do just enjoy things and they do it and they don't feel exploited. How do you get to that level, right? And obviously, like this goes against some of the things that I really do believe in. Like I think there should be pay. I don't think it should be a free position. I think it should be paid. But these two in general still kind of hold true, right? The truth is you won't always have time. Even if you're getting paid, it's more of a laissez-faire kind of, arrangement. You're not really there every single moment. I mean, maybe you are, but we'll talk about that. I also realized that that's just sort of my opinion on moderation, and it's not really the chat's opinion. Because the moderation doesn't affect me. And I realized this while reflecting about it. One, I was being unfair to the state of moderation. Two, moderation is not really a concern of mine. It's a concern of the chat as a whole. And then, thinking about it from an angle, it made me realize that I should actually get chat input on this. So I'm going to pose this as a question in the Discord channel as well, so people can sort of answer asynchronously afterwards. But even here, I want to sort of define what we're looking for in like a moderation standpoint. Not that I'm looking for one, but I recognize that eventually that might happen. Right? There's a non-zero chance that we might need that, right? Even for something as simple as like events. Like if I'm gonna do like a VR chat reading event, and I need someone to moderate people so that we know that people can be kicked off if they're being like assholes like something, or people just being like rude to other people for no reason. Then I would need to pay somebody to be there to moderate, and at that point it's like they're basically a moderator for that instance of like a chat, but like a real life chat, and they have to like do stuff. Like it's like a whole mess of things that we have to figure out, right? So this ties into sort of future events. So we need moderation for some future events. Simply because I'm one person. If I can't be the host as well as mod, it's gonna be very, very hard. So I can't do both at the same time. I'm trying to now, and there's moments where it's very difficult, especially in games where I can't, like, things are happening and I can't ban a bot in like time. Or if I'm BRB and a bot joins and it keeps on spamming, I need to be careful about that, right? So there's a reality that quite a few future events will need another separate moderator role that isn't me, because I'm going to be taking part in it and hosting it for you all. I want your chat input into this. So chat is allowed to sort of define things that they want from a mod. Because right now, we only really know about like the qualities that they need to have in terms of they can't be parasocial. And yet, is that necessarily true? I don't know. This ties into the parasociality topic, is why I kind of wanted to bring this up. I don't really know exactly what the qualities are. I just know from a baseline, like, not parasocial, but like, what does that mean when you're a moderator of like someone who presumably you would also have to enjoy being in the community, otherwise you wouldn't know, right? Like, if you like imagine, okay, you chatter, if you weren't like a VIP, plus if you didn't have the like badge or something, right? Like if you had no badge, you showed up and you said, I'll suck for free, and my rule says no sexual content. Obviously that, the Pandora's box is like open, so it's kind of hard to put that back inside. But let's say that was the case, right? And you get banned for that. Like, how would they know that that's like an in joke or something? You know what I mean? On like a per chat basis. And then how would they know that even that's like an in joke for the entire chat? Like, if you're all being mean to me, how would they be able to discern when it's the regular chat, like, like teasing me and like, ribbing me? Well, not ribbing me. Is that the term, ribbing? Ribbing. Good natured teasing. Yeah. Or like when you're ribbing me, okay? What is this? It sounds so sexual. Huh? Mic or form into raised bands or ridges. No, it's whatever. Yeah, just so like if you're ribbing me, what happens if some of you get like banned from a moderator who like doesn't know, right? Then it's like okay, well then we're doomed. Then the chat kind of dies off and we get a whole different vibe. So it's like, is this really a viable condition for being a moderator of a chat? I don't know. What's interesting is that our chat is actually it actually consists of quite a few mods of other channels. I may need to take a shit. Oh God, this is such a bad time for this. This always happens. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just got off the call and I was like, okay, maybe we can just go straight into streaming. But no, my intestine says, yo, you won't believe what I've got for you today. We'll figure it. We'll figure it out once it starts. When the turtle wakes. That's when I'll deal with it. Okay. So this idea of not pure social, how deep does this go? Because if you're a part of the chat, right? Let's say if they're integrated into chat, are they really parasocial? Well, they kind of have to be by default, right? I almost don't know how you would do this without being a parasocial person. Because being integrated into the chat and having conversations like this, even as an anonymous chat member, which I always call you all, means that you are effectively parasocial on the level of hanging out instead of chat. And we need that because otherwise, without this, if no, because this is important for sustaining the culture. So maybe like they also have to be like culture aware. So culture aware. It's so important for them to be culture aware, and almost the only way to do that is that they must integrate deeply and tightly into the chat. Okay, effectively they must join the hive mind or come from the hive mind, right? You ever see that movie? I don't forget the movie. But like the movie is like this. There's like an alien, and then it like takes care of things, and then at some point, like it spits out like an avatar from the hive mind. Or maybe I'm thinking of like a webtoon. I'm not really sure. But the idea is that the hive mind spits out like a little avatar person that's like there to act as the representative of the hive mind. Like that's what we need. We need the chat hive mind to spawn like a representative that is gonna be like somebody who can be a moderator. It's so much as long as they pass these other unknown qualities, right? What? Okay, listen. I'm trying to explain this. I had 6 hours of sleep. Okay, it's hard. The manifestation of chat. Okay, maybe it must be like a manifestation of chat. Yes, but like not taking over my job. If they're too good at it, then they just steal my chat. Huh. If they're too good at it, then they steal my chat. Okay, they must be talentless and they must be maidenless. There we go. This way we never have to deal with people poaching my viewers. Thankfully, these two attributes actually apply to all of you. So this is like a default, like yeah, like all of you are like this. Doo-doo-doo-doo. You were talentless and maidenless, all of you. But then you get into this problem, right? I don't want them to be parasocial, but they must be integrated into chat. They must be aware of the culture. They must be a manifestation of chat's will and chat's whim. And they must also sort of like evolve with the chat too, because the chat will naturally evolve, right? I always think of chat as like, remember my dog in like Warframe, which by the way, I actually kept it in that form because I realized that I had like a little robot drone that I never like maxed out. So right now you're just a blob of like hair and like mass, and you have like a weird like bump over here. You look very nasty actually, like hair just like sticking out. Like this is chat, and then it'll be like this. That's you, right? Like that's all of you. This will slowly change over time The evolution of chat will sort of happen naturally, and the reality of it is that chat is more of an amalgamation of like every single other viewer in there. So we have some core chatters who define like a very different set of ways of talking, and all of you actually communicate and hang out in different ways. All of you are very different in your vibes, but as a whole, that forms a collective that is chat. Now, it's going to change over time, so they must be flexible as well. So they must be willing to recognize change. They must be like water, friend. Be like water. But these are just qualifications, like requirements that they have to have from my perspective. I actually don't know what like a chat needs from a moderator, right? Aside from being culture aware and integrated into the chat such that they don't like break up what chat knows best. Like chat knows breast, right? Like chat knows breast. So they know when they're going a bit too far. They know when they're trying to be like a bit of an asshole. People are very aware of their actions within chat. People come into it with a certain intention when they say things, unless they quite literally cannot. In which case, listen, we really can't help you with that. If you get banned, that's a sorry. So, yeah, chat knows booba exactly. But beyond that, I actually can't think of anything else that chat really needs, right? And so as we go on in time, I'm gonna want all of you to sort of like add more input into what you want from a moderator. We're not gonna find a moderator. This is not like an anytime soon kind of thing. This is like a one day kind of issue, right? Like one day somebody's gonna raid me. I'm gonna get like thousands of viewers, and it's like, all right, well now, okay, well now we gotta sit here and moderate, and then the flow is broken. But then it's gonna open up this like floodgate too, where I need a mod to help me with that stuff. At this size, I don't need it. I think even up to like 500 viewers, you probably don't even need it. Like I've seen 500 viewer chats, and they move very slow still, so it's like very easy to like manage. Though I guess activity of chat really depends on whatever you're doing and how you're sort of feeding people into it, right? Thankfully, most of the viewers are lurkers. Again, there's no pressure to like chat, so it's fine here. It's a safe place. Actually, I do need to recheck the settings. I think the settings for chatting it's a bit restrictive, so we'll see how it goes. It doesn't stop the bots, so whatever I'm doing hasn't really helped with the bot flow, unfortunately. But we will eventually narrow this down because again, at some point, this is going to be necessary for us to do some very cool events. The main one is the reading one, that one where we all hang out in like a room and we discuss topics. It's gonna be very hard to do if I don't have a moderator who's like there on the ball. The live stream won't have it. I'll have a system where it'll transcribe what you say as a person who's like speaking directly to me, which is pretty cool. I got it mostly working, so it makes sense. Right, reading. Yeah, reading. Yeah, we all get locked in a room and we read. Yes, yes. You may wonder why your avatar can't move and why you're tied to a chair, but it's just reading. It's fine. I care about the library here. Um, but I'm actually, again, I'm still very worried about them being too parasocial if they are a moderator of the chat. Like, how do we do this in a way that you won't feel like you're getting closer to me compared to everyone else? Which is kind of like a natural state of things too, because it's like you are technically closer than your average chat member, which kind of happens now. Like it's weird. Yesterday was like a big eye opener for me because like we have now chatters who have streamed with, and chatters who have played games with, and chatters who like hang out very often outside of Discord. Like there's levels of chatters now, and it's like how do I ensure that all of you know that it's all a falsity? Like all of it's all a lie. Like how do I reiterate that it's all a lie on like some level, right? The chatter hierarchy. Yeah, exactly. But yet, still, in the end, it's like we still haven't breached the point where we're friends, right? Because I haven't told you things about myself. Like, I mean, I tell you things about myself, but I haven't told you like deep feelings about myself. We haven't had like deep conversations. I don't know anything about you. It's a one-way interaction where you consume and I give. It's still that one-way space, or it's very focused on a shared activity where we simply do things together. And we focus on the activity and not necessarily each other. Like there's so many different like avenues that this has to go down that I kind of wonder how we're gonna get a moderation team that feels right on both sides, and whether or not even my concerns even make sense. But I just want you to know, if ever that point comes, you will be paid. I've actually heard many stories of many moderators who are doing it on a volunteer basis, which feels like strange to me because it's like you're doing effectively a job that takes a lot of effort and that you have to you're not really glued to the content, so you're glued to what's happening in chat, and you're glued to like the people that are typing. And that stream could be very, very fast, and so it's like, okay, well, if you're not paying attention, the vibe could be ruined. But if you do it too much, like there's a right balance to it, right? So I'm surprised it's not a paid position for most people. So it will be a paid position for sure at some point. Wait, you have to tell deep things to be friends, and you're also friendless in addition to mainless. Well, not like deep things, but like, do you feel? I guess like here's the thing, right? If you're friends with somebody, this is like okay, this is my metric. In other languages, I know there's words for this. Like I know in Russian, there's like a word between like these different tiers, and in like Vietnamese, there's like words for these too. But basically, the hierarchy in like English is like this. From top to bottom, so it's like least to most. And then this is the friendly scale. Can I write sideways? Let's see if I can write sideways. Least to most. Am I? This is wait, chat. I'm actually cracked at writing sideways. Least to most friend. Wait. The E is tripping me up. Friend. Okay, let's. How good was that? Let's flip this. Was that good? Why didn't I just do it in the reverse? That's kind of good, chat. That's pretty good for sideways writing. That looks like someone's custom font for like a Garden of like Ban like fan game. Good. Okay, so this is the friend level. I I tend to look at friendship kind of like this. So you get strangers, okay? Strangers, I mean, some dude could get run over by a car in front of me, and the most I would do is CPR, but I wouldn't really cry for them, right? Like I'd help them survive, and if they die, it's like, oh man, like that really sucks, but I wouldn't cry for them. You know what I mean? Like, not that I'm like heartless. I just feel like I'd feel more emotion if it was my friend dying. Okay, and then you have like let's say like BFFs. Let's just say like I don't know, like a BFFs. Well, technically it's like my partner. Like your partner is like your best friend. Like my wife is like my best friend. If I don't have my wife, I'm actually friendless. If I don't have my wife, I'm friendless and I'm maidenless. Actually, that's crazy. By the way, my wife woke up today at the same time as me because she was like, "In solidarity, honey, I'm gonna wake up at the same time as you for your job interview." So we both woke up at like 9 or something, or like 8:30. She fell back asleep. She fell back asleep. I think like 5 minutes afterwards, she texted me, and so she just came right back to sleep. And I was like, "Yep, I kind of figured." We're both night owls, so we have like a whole different thing. And then you have like friends. I want to say friends are more closer to the middle. Friends are really in this middle pack. Okay. Let me define the levels, and I'll talk about why I think you need to have a level of comfort that leads to talking about deep things. It's more so about this idea of comfort. Okay. Here, or somewhere around here, in this like amorphous, like hard to define category, you got things like coworkers, acquaintances, right? Then you've got people who are like kind of closer than either or. That's like closer to friends and like strangers. Yeah, exactly. The step above stranger would be acquaintances, but it also kind of it's a coworkers too. But then there's also that like weird level where you kind of connect with your coworkers and your acquaintances, where you're kind of like hanging out, but you're not friends. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're hanging out on a daily basis, but you're not really friends yet because you don't really feel comfortable opening up to them. You just enjoy spending time with them and shared activities. So I like the I like the sorry, I had pad thai. I didn't post a photo. Yeah, like-minded. So now you've got your like-minded, or rather, like-minded, activity-focused, like-minded, activity-focused individuals. Because like-minded by itself would mean that you've been sharing your thoughts on things, and so you are like-minded. But you may play with the same Counter-Strike server every day, and you guys may know each other well enough to where it's like, oh, hey, it's you, it's that person, and then you always go in the same team as this like group of people, but you don't know each other in real life. You don't really talk about things. So you're like-minded, activity-focused, like Like it's like acquaintances where you're kind of like there. Then there's a step above that where you're starting to court towards this idea of friendship, which I don't really know what to say about this is. It's like you're closer than like all of these. It's like this like pre-friend stage. It's like pre-cum. It's like yeah, it's like pre-cum. Like you feel it coming and you're like, I'm really close, but like I don't know, like like should I? Like it's I like it's gonna get all over my like hands, like it's you know what I mean? So like there's this step too. English doesn't have good like words for this. Every other language has like words for like this idea of like somebody who's like getting closer and very specific to certain things. But English only really has this like definition of like stranger, acquaintances, and coworkers, friends, partners. Like there's not really much. And then down here, even though you may be friends, you may not talk about like everything. Okay, so you may even have closer friends. You may have like BFFs, right? Or like best friends, right? People who are really close can say anything. Like, dude, my dick is uh, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't get hard. What do I do? And then your bro me is like, oh, bro, let me check it out. I'm a doctor. You know what I mean? So like stuff like that, or like I guess like there's also this like term for like someone who's like family. Again, English doesn't really have a good word for this, but in other languages, like in Vietnamese, there's like a word for this. I don't know how to say it now at this moment because it's weird. Multilingual stuff is weird. BFFs like family, etc. We talk about dicks, so we're more than friends. But see, this is now. Let me define the scale because the scale of going down this friend scale is actually based on this metric. So this is the level of friendship that you have, least to most. But I think friendship is really defined as this level of like trust, openness, honesty, and active effort slash reciprocation. I don't know a better term for this, but like active effort slash reciprocation is like a key one. So like if somebody puts an effort for you, if you don't reciprocate, then you're an asshole, right? I try very hard to reciprocate. I'm just very bad at it. The dick metric. I mean, okay, well, the dick metric is that only your partner should see this, and everyone else should not know your penis. Okay, nobody else should know your penis unless they ask for it, and you're not with someone. In which case, I don't know. It's up to you. I'm not a fan of that because then it muddies the lines because then you also have like because you're friends, right? But then quite literally, your friends with benefits is like here, like, but they could also be here. You know what I mean? Like your friends with benefits could be here or here. They could be just a dick appointment, or they could be a mind appointment too. They could be a brain appointment too. You might get some B and C, right? Some brain and cock. You might get some head in both ways. You say sex is a separate scale completely. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm trying to get at, right? Is like the sex itself doesn't really matter because they can kind of go anywhere. Because the truth is, that's like a fluid sort of like metric. Unless you're with a partner, in which case that's a whole different thing too, right? Then it's like a whole different discussion of like what is your relationship style. So it's like I wouldn't even consider like the whole like as much of a meme as it is. The truth is, even if you talk about like the dick metric, that's not really a true thing either because that's a whole separate discussion. These two kind of can be anywhere because they ladder into everything else. Because you being an FWB doesn't really change how much you like talk to each other. It doesn't change any of these metrics, which are very, very different. You might not even trust them on like a very personal level, but you're down to rail them or get railed by them, right? To me, friendship has always been about like trust, openness, honesty, and active effort slash reciprocation. Reciprocation. And so it's like the truth about it is that you don't have to tell deep things, but if you don't feel comfortable telling deep things to them, it's complicated because then it's like, well, do you really trust them on that level? Could you trust them with anything? And if you can't, what does that mean? Right? It means you haven't broken through some like barrier yet, right? Which is like weird because it's like that barrier could come from anything. That barrier could even come from your sort of like personal hangups about things. And obviously, this can go deep into like trauma. It can also be as simple as like just things about just a very surface level. Like, I don't really trust this like person, but it's worth it to ask yourself these questions to figure out, okay, well, should I really be calling this person my friend if I'm not even comfortable with telling them at least this? It may be that your preconception of how they react is holding you aback, or how you know that they react to things like this is holding you aback. In which case, is that something that you really want in your life to be like this close to you? Like it you know what I mean? It's hard to explain, but basically that's like why I think of like friendship as a whole different scale. But this scale also really applies to the streaming aspect too, because we also have now chatters. Okay, so your average chatter is actually like a stranger, like you're outside the bubble. Like basically, it's stranger slash chatter. And then as you stay within chat, so like an active chatter, you start to get more time, and then you start to show up here. Where it gets kind of weird right now, and where the moderation thing gets all complicated too, and how this ties into moderation is that some of you I play games with on stream, maybe even off stream. Well, actually not off stream. I know I should play games with anyone off stream, but this idea of like you're an active chatter, but also you're somebody who like who we play games with. So you're like a collabor. Collabor. Yeah, sex is like a dilly game. You might play with a random or with your wife. Uh, yeah. Maybe you should tell your wife first though. Honey, I'm off to play a random quick match. You what? So they might be a collabor, but even then, they might not be a friend. But at the same time, if you collab a lot and then you guys hang out a lot and talk a lot, they might become friends, and all of a sudden, your collabor is also your BFF or your new friend or your friend or something. Like all of these categories can sort of like breach this throat. What's interesting is that even an active chatter can, right? So this is the weirdest part, is that theoretically there's nothing stopping you from getting to this level except for an active effort on my part to dissuade you from doing this, because you end up in a situation where like people come in with expectations of like, oh wait, if this person can do it, I can too. And I don't want that expectation to be there, because the truth is it may not be possible to get here for various reasons. We may not just get along. And so it's very clear for me to define these different levels to it, so that people are very aware of where they stand. That way, there's no ambiguity and there's no way for your feelings to be hurt accidentally or surprisingly. I'm very, very clear about the separation for a level, because it's like it's very hard to trust. It's not that I don't trust you guys, but I also don't trust you guys. You also wouldn't trust me in reality, because it's like, do you even know me? So it kind of goes both ways. That's a terrible explanation, because I've had 6 hours of sleep, but I think you sort of see my issue with moderation, because as a moderator, you stand above a level of a chatter in terms of responsibility, and you have access to a level of communication with me that feels like you're a friend. This is the weird part. A moderator has more access than your average chatter to things happening. So by necessity, if I need you for some event, I'm going to tell you about it. You actually get advanced plans about things. You actually get the inside scoop, right? By necessity, we work together. So by default, you go from a chatter into like a coworker sense. But also, it feels like we're friends because you have to constantly communicate with me. And so you end up in this weird space where it feels like a double duty kind of role, where you have more responsibility and you have this level of access that feels like friendship, that you can almost like fool yourself into believing that it's friendship. And I wonder how to balance all this, right? Especially when it comes to chatters that we play games with sometimes on like stream. Like now that we know that some of them are like streamers, it's like what is that? How do we balance this approach, and how do we make it so that there's a natural progression as there would be in real life, that isn't the result of some shortcut taken? Like if you're like an active chatter and you really want to be my friend, just because you raid me doesn't mean that I'll be nicer to you, right? Like it doesn't mean that I'll be nicer to you and that will hang out more, right? It just happens to be like that because I'm down for collaboration. But even again, collaboration is like a whole different thing. It's a very complicated topic, and it's important to get it right on this side, at least for me, because I'm the one who has to work with the moderator. But it's also important to figure out what chat wants from the moderator in terms of the qualities of what chat wants, right? Chat wants what? Chat wants what? Because ultimately they moderate the chat. They moderate you. They moderate this blob over here. This balance between these two elements is going to be very hard to reach. I just want you to know that in the middle, there is a fine point where a moderator can exist, and that just because you raid me or something, or just because we play games, we're not necessarily friends, but we will get there eventually if it naturally happens, right? Again, it's so hard to dissuade people from it because it's like the reality of it is that it could happen as a natural thing, but I don't want to like be like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen if you play with me. God, it's so hard. Anyways, this was just stuck in my mind for like a while. I'm gonna do like a survey in the Discord channel to see what you all would want from a moderator because it's very important for I think the future of the channel for future stuff. We can also do it live as well, but live is kind of hard because all of you have a different time zone. So we'll see how it goes on a separate sort of platform where everyone has like access to it. And yeah, hopefully we get down to like a good narrowing of what we expect here. At least for the collabing side, I can like talk to the people directly and be like, hey, you know, like I know it feels like this, but the truth is, right, we're still kind of like many steps away from you being my friend. And that's an easier conversation to have on a one-on-one basis. Whereas a moderator, for somebody that to be a moderator too, the selection process feels almost random because it's like I have to reach out to someone. Like I pluck you from chat. And so it's like it's very important for me to be aware of all the conditions beforehand because I can't explain it. Because that person will just get the offer and then all of a sudden you open this can of worms. Anyways, I'm gonna go do a 20-minute turbo on my toilets. I need to go take a shit. I'm so sorry this always happens, and I can't believe it always happens every single time. Pluck us from the ground, streamer. Pluck us like the corn. We are like the wheat. Separate the wheat from the chaff. If it ever happens again, if you are an active chatter, this is the weird part. If you're an active chatter who understands the culture of the chat, you technically have a higher chance because you already fit one of these things. But there's also other qualities that I need as well in terms of like, because I'm gonna be paying you, like it would be a paid role. So one, I have to be able to pay you, can be paid. This is a surprisingly difficult thing to figure out. Some countries you can't even pay someone unless you're there. Like if you're in Japan and you want to be paid for being a moderator, well, guess what? I have to open an office in Japan only for you, or I pay you in like crypto. Like, there's not really many options, right? Like, it's kind of hard depending on where you are. You must also be like, you know, I guess like somewhat punctual. I don't really care too much about this, and also professional on the level of like you are now doing like almost like a mini job, but not really a job. It's like a very specific kind of job, and you must also be, I guess, like willing to learn to get better at it because honestly I don't even know how to expect what you need to do from responsibilities, so it's like a lot of it will be winged between us and the moderators, right? So this is good, like, because moderation is going to be dynamic depending on what you do. Every single event will have a different thing. And then everything beyond that is like a nice to have. Like if you want to, I don't know, if you're a programmer and you want to program for some reason, then sure. I guess if I had the money, I will have the money to hire you. But if I had the money to now, I would maybe not do it either way because there's nothing that I need you for, right? So there's a bunch of things that we need to figure out. But we'll figure all this out together eventually. I'm gonna go take a massive shit, so I'll be right back in just a moment. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Swearsies. Then an ad will play to get rid of the ads for the next hour. We're done with the segment. When I'm back, we're going right into Until Then. Well, a song before we get there. But I want to wait until I'm back to play the song because there's a bit of like talking to like do for it, and then we'll see where today goes. Hopefully, we have enough time to do everything. So, goodbye, non-subs. You are now in ad hell. I'm going to take a shit. BRB, and I'm so sorry. Why is it that I always have to go to the washroom, like, as part of the stream? I think what I'm gonna do before the stream ever starts is I'm gonna, like, talk to myself. I'm gonna run, like, a script on myself, such that I force myself into thinking that my body is streaming. Because I think I accidentally Pavlov myself. Like, the moment that we start stream, right? I think I Pavlov myself into going to taking a shit. Which is, like, funny. Because it's like, now every time I get on behind the camera... What if okay, one day in the future, right? Imagine I get so famous that I'm going live on like television shows, and I sit down with like hopefully Conan O'Brien on his like podcast because he has like a camera like recording it, right? And I shit my pants in the chair, and he's like, "Why did you do that?" And it's like, "I don't know. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second." Yeah, exactly. Pavlov's bowel movement. So yeah, that was interesting. We will eventually get better at the planning of things. I'm gonna fix the flow of this. I think I need to eat like 2 hours beforehand, like just speak to myself and see if I can. I need to like point the camera at myself. Okay, the monkey's paw, right? This is the monkey's paw. You're famous, but every time a camera points at you, you get the urge to shit. It's like, oh man, like you're really rich and famous. Every time someone points a camera at you, you have to like start like you have to get to a washroom within like 2 minutes because you're gonna shit your pants. That is a good monkey's paw. I can feel the monkey's paw like curling now. That's an exquisite example of a feature perfect. Maybe you'll send it to your student. Wait, really? Maybe okay, maybe not in this context. That would be like funny if you sent like my stream stuff as like the example because it's like I'm shitting my pants and the message is about shitting my pants. Please don't teach your student that. As well, I also recognize this last night too. But the music that you have that's on the background here can get kind of stale at times. I'm sure you're all tired of hearing some drum and bass like game music. So eventually, we will be able to move on to a different type of song that will be better or style of song. I just need to figure out where they are, basically. Give me a second. I have to send a work email. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. There's so many things going on. Okay, sorry about that, chat. Just the joys of finding a job. Again, for context, it's because I'm going through like a very fast process for getting this job because A, they needed someone, B, it's a referral. So it's like when you shortcut a bunch of steps, there's like a whole ton of things that they want to plan you for. And they had, I'm going to be real with you, they had like 4 hours to do it before, but they were kind of late on the ball on something. So, however, I've got news for you all actually. Tomorrow will be a normal stream time. So, I mean, the current stream time. Because I'm probably going to start work Wednesday at this rate because there's another meeting with them. And I think it's going to be pushed to Thursday. I think it's going to take even longer. I don't think they can fast track anymore. And I have a feeling there's probably one more process that they want to get through. So, thankfully, we get more stream time, which is nice because I enjoy streaming too. It's kind of funny because the lesson that was a few hours ago was about Future Perfect. And they said that it seems like it's hard to imagine a lot of situations where you would use it. And you're like, yeah, it's not particularly frequent. You see it sometimes here and there, and here it is. Yeah, it's... The future perfect form is one of those weird like forms of sentence where it's only really useful in like a informative sense. Like unless you're doing it in an informative sense, because like for you to talk about the future, it's almost like you're trying to inform or predict what is happening from the future side, right? Compared to like like a normal sentence that's something else where you're primarily doing it just to like talk about a moment in the subject. It's like really hard to think of a use case for talking about the future that isn't those two. Whereas in the present, you can talk about anything, right? I can even say like, "Wow, that dick felt great," right? But it's like, you know what I mean? Like you can't say that in the future because you don't know yet. It's like you're so limited by it. So it is funny that like the one case that you have it is on a stream because on a stream it is like the one place where information can flow through is like a pinned message about the future. You might even find it actually in like advertising. A lot of advertising stuff has this too. I can't remember what it was, but there was a very famous series of ads where it was like, you'll know the pleasure that you'll feel. I'm pretty sure it was a condom ad, but I'm pretty sure there was also one for like food too, or like the orange or like something. I don't know. There should be a couple of them. There should be a couple of them. Sorry, I had to still reply to some work text. Again, it's still some more work stuff, so just give me another like 2 minutes. Oh god. Okay. We're done. Tomorrow will be a full stream day. Yeah, it'll be good. Okay. It's usually when you say that some action will happen before another action in the future, especially in the sense where verbs are not placed in a chronological order. Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But then that's like, to me, that feels like a very difficult sentence to like parse. Like I've seen those sentences, but the kind of sentence that you're talking about feels like the essay emote, right? For like the future perfect form, where that would be the most useful. It feels like the essaying emote where they just keep on going and going and going and going, and it feels hard to like parse it out anyways. To me, at that point, it kind of feels like you would get more value out of restructuring the sentence versus using a future perfect to try to clarify it. However, that's also not true because I've seen it in like fictional books where like the sentence is very complex from the speaker's side, and it's like a very long soliloquy from like a character. There's one particular movie where this happens, but I can't remember what. I really can't remember. I can't remember the movie. I just remember them going on a very, very long speech, and I was like, "Damn, that's a good ass speech," because I understood it. But they used a lot of like future tense, past tense, like present tense. Surprisingly, a complex sentence. Anyways, as I mentioned, now that I'm finally done all the work stuff. Again, sorry, it's very last minute, but we have a longer stream today. It's why I'm dumping the coffee into my veins. We're gonna be doing something interesting. Okay, I prepared a playlist for today's stream. Usually, I don't always prepare a playlist. It's very hit or miss if I get around to making a playlist. It's hard to choose songs actually to fit the mood of what we're doing, as well as the mood that I feel on that day. Again, doing the song selection choice is also a future perfect. In a way where it's like I'm trying to figure out what song would fit in the future before it's even happened. I don't know if that's probably not a future perfect. I'm just saying it's with the same intent that you would use a future perfect. I'm trying to give a song that will sound perfect in the future, and that future is today. This song is I've been on a bit of a bend. I don't know how to explain this other than that. I really really enjoy Radiohead in general. I really like their music. They're surprisingly complex, and actually, there's a very good video about the complexity of the music, which I'll sort of link to you afterwards once we finish hearing this song. But even if it's not a very complex song, let's say the lyrics or the sound of it, there's just something so like interesting about the way that they do it and how smooth it sounds, despite being when you really dive into it a very complex piece, a complex composition. Basically, their music is very like nice to listen to on the ears, despite that not really really being a mainstay of like I guess the genre that they're in. The genre that they're in like feels like it's very I guess like rough at times. It feels like it can be very grating at like times. When you compare to other I guess like fellow bands in the space, and yet they somehow nail this style that's both ethereal and almost like soothing and chilling, but also incredibly at the core alternative rock. Like you definitely hear hints of it, but it's the way that they carry it. I don't know how to explain it other than the vibe is very very nice, and I like listening to them a lot. I've been on a bend of them because I just don't know why. I've just been in the mood for their songs. Admittedly, that probably is kind of like a red flag of like, oh, you're in the mood for their songs, so you're feeling okay, because like you listen to like No Surprises or something, and you're like, oh yeah, like why are you in the mood for the songs, right? But the truth is, there's just something about them that like feels good to listen to. I don't know how else to like explain it. Sometimes, you know what? I had an MF Doom phase. All right, we had an MF Doom phase here on the channel. We had a Sanford phase. We had a Daniel Caesar phase. We go through phases. We go through different areas of like music. You just have to deal with the music as it shows up. This is a song that I'm gonna play before the game, as well as there's a song after the game and before Sandbox as well. They're both by Radiohead, but we're starting with a song called "Sail to the Moon," which, fun fact, apparently was a song that he wrote when his son was born. So I had no clue. This song was written when his son was born, and so for a bit of context that I think helps you understand the song too, his son is named Noah. So just keep that in mind when you listen to some of the lyrics here, especially the things he like says, but also the symbols that he's trying to like draw, the symbolism that he's trying to like draw for you, and like it's almost like a narrative, and like the way he's like speaking to this person. It's fascinating. It's a very fascinating thing that he's done with the lyrics. When you take all of that into consideration with the context of his son being named Noah, and that his son was just born, there's something very cool about that. So just listen to it. I'm gonna stop talking now. There's a really cool video by a channel called David Bennett Piano. He does a breakdown of that song. The video is literally called Radiohead's Most Complex Song. I posted it inside of the Twitch chat. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, you don't get to see this. Get shit on. Today, I care about my tier 3 viewers, right? You know what I mean? Because my tier 1 viewers are on YouTube, and you guys already have all the space on the comment section where I take my time to reply to each and every one of you until I get lazy. But this video goes over how fascinatingly complex this song is, despite not coming through when you listen to it. This song apparently has a shit ton of time signature changes, a lot of different chord changes. It's a surprisingly complex song when you actually break it down. But while you're listening to it, you kind of transport it to this place that feels like You're in almost like this weird ethereal dreamlike land where you're kind of floating on all of this like musical landscape that's like going through you. It's a very fascinating way to like feel when you listen to the song. As you can tell, I probably should sleep for more than 6 hours every night. So whatever I said before the music started, ignore that. I don't know what the hell I was saying. Just know that my brain was a bit frazzled. Yeah, Radiohead do be like that. They do be like that, and they're really good at that. And a lot of the songs are like that, and it's basically their entire modem operandus. So if you really enjoy that stuff, just listen to all their like all the disc, all the their entire discography. We'll be playing one more song afterwards as well, as we jump into the sandbox segments, which is going to be a very long segment because we've got to program our way through everything. We're currently in a wet paper bag, and the bag is falling apart, so we need to figure out what to do. But from here on out, there's ads back in the channel, but I'm going to try my best to stop for the ads when they run. The reason why the ads are back in the mid-roll, at least on the Twitch side, is because you get rid of the pre-roll, and a lot of people were complaining about the pre-roll because more people than I realized watch the stream and then leave the stream and then come back to the stream. So it was getting annoying for them. So I've gotten the complaints. So we're trying this system out. It should be less ads overall for you as a viewer. Again, I'm trying to tweak this as much as I can. I really don't know which one's the best because no one answered the survey inside the Discord server. So I have one data point to work on with chat, except for the people who also message me off of chat. So I just want you to know your opinions are appreciated. You're allowed to answer questions, especially when I try to force you all to. Now, give me a moment to set up until then. What do I feel when I read a sentence? When his pin disappears, my pants will have been being shit for 5 minutes. I feel like I took mental damage. That sentence hurts me mentally, and I don't know why that hurts me mentally. Well, I do know why it hurts me mentally. Because you need a moment to decipher it, to try to make sense of it. When his pin disappears, my pants will have been being shit for 5 minutes. It's specifically the being shit part. Because it's like, I don't know if it's shit as like the adjective, like it's a shit pair of pants, or is it shit as in like you've been shitting in your pants for like 5 minutes. That's the confusion for me, and I don't know which one it is. But I want you to know you've crafted the ultimate sentence to stun lock like an English speaker, right? That's a good sentence. If you go to America and you just say that out loud, you're gonna see like Americans like dropping down like the flies. Like people will be having strokes around you. Like, oh. What about when his pin disappears? My pants will have been being shitted for 5 minutes. So he's shitting in his pants for 5 minutes. It still kind of hurts my head, but now I can decipher the meaning as like he was shitting his pants for 5 minutes. But something still feels a bit off about that. When his pin disappears, my pants will have been being shitted for 5 minutes. It's the being shitted. Maybe shitted in. My pants will have been shitted in for 5 minutes, right? But then it's like shitted in. I guess like being shitted in. I guess that's because the being and the being. It feels like a current and then a past tense kind of thing. But it's also like a future tense, so it's kind of weird. Like it feels like it's painful. Like I would almost want to say when his pin disappears, my pants will have been shitted in for 5 minutes. Because also using shitted by itself, it's like hard to decipher what the meaning is. Like, because I can infer the shitted in, but also you can shit on something. You can shit over someone. You can shit under something too. Is when his pin disappears, my pants will have been getting shitted for 5 minutes, or is when his pin disappears, my pants will have been shitted for 5 minutes. Better. When his pin disappears, my pants will have been getting shitted for 5 minutes. When his pin disappears, my pants will have been shitted for 5 minutes. The second one, the latter is better, but I would still go for something else. I would still go for it not shitted by itself. Like I still feel like I want to qualify the shitted portion of it. So when his pin disappears, my pants will have been shitted for 5 minutes is better, but I still would probably have done like when his pin disappears, my pants will have been shitted on or shitted in for 5 minutes. It's like it's missing something. It's just that one little thing there at the end, but I don't know what the word for that is. Because then it kind of works out. When this pin disappears, my pants will have been shitted on for 5 minutes. Well, my pants will have been shitted in for 5 minutes. Because saying my pants implies that these are my pants, but I'm not doing the shitting. And like somebody might be doing the shitting, it might be me or someone else. That's the ambiguity is fine there because you don't really need like the clarity. But saying just shitted, there's something weird about the way that just shitted by itself feels like it's missing something. It's like you have the action, but not the context. And I don't know if that's necessary. I know. It's hard. Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense anymore. I don't know. I've never shit on someone's past. How about this? Think about it. You know how sometimes I say I'm gonna shit on your chest when I'm mad at someone, right? And then I'm like I'm gonna take a shit on your chest. I say on your chest, but if I say I'm gonna shit chest, like it feels like you're saying I'm gonna shit chest, or like I am gonna shit chest. Right? Like it feels like I'm like missing something there, but I don't know what that is. It's like how like some verbs need like a specifier, but I don't know what that means, and I don't know what the actual term for that means. But I also don't know if that's true, and maybe it's only for the verb shitted or shit. Maybe there's a defecate. Can you use defecate? I don't know. Figure it out. We're going into until then. Figure it out. English hurts my brain. Fair warning, by the way. Today will be a very messy stream. What a good game. Unfortunately, not today. We actually went way longer than I expected. I didn't mean to go this long on this one single game. I'm actually meant to go on the sandbox. We're gonna play a new game next time. Tomorrow, actually, because tomorrow is also a full stream day. I have a couple of other narrative games to do tomorrow as well. Just some one-offs, as well as some more sandbox. I may switch the narrative games over to another day, TBH. That way we have a day dedicated to just making sandbox stuff, because I gotta do that pretty soon. The game jam is over in 14 days. And I kind of want some space for me to just relax, because the Wednesday I start work. So we'll see how it goes. Well, I think I'm done for today. If you're waiting for programming, get shit on, as always. I never follow schedule. Just be thankful that I followed schedule for at least 2 days out of 5. That's pretty good, considering my track record. Hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay, and hopefully the VODs should be up by tonight as well. As a reminder, tomorrow is a normal stream day starting at the same time. Wednesday onwards, maybe, or Thursday, I don't know. It really depends on when I get the work contract. It will shift over to a different time. We're gonna see how things go. But in general, Wednesday, we will start 5 hours later than we normally would for stream. So whatever time that I usually start every day, 5 p.m. UTC, it's now 10 p.m. UTC. The upcoming streams on YouTube will be updated, so you should be able to see the date when they do start, the time. And that should be localized to your time. It should be a whole automatic system. On Twitch as well, the schedule will be updated as well, so I'll let you guys know. Thanks for showing up. You'll get more content soon. And just because I'm going back to work doesn't mean that it's over. It just simply means that I have to move on in life too. Thanks for the fun stream. Until then, thank you for showing up. Appreciate it. I appreciate all of you, actually. Thank you all for showing up. Have a good night, sleep tight, and be sure to treat each other well. I'll save the song for next time, I think. This song is better suited for, I think, programming in general versus this. So, bye everyone. Get out of here. Go live your life. Move on. And if I don't come back, you don't have to find me. You know what the thing says. Remember, you have to move on even if I don't come back. I'm gone forever. I can't believe the subreddit has a copium breakdown. Like, how much copium? I'm gonna go check out the subreddit now. How much copium are people having? What's it about? I guarantee you it's about shipping. Shipping is a poison. Don't get addicted to shipping. It's gonna ruin your ideas of things. Don't even bother. Bye, everyone.